What would you do if one day your mom asked you to film an interview with your grandparents?
So we just wanted to get these memories recorded on tape. Mom and Dad are getting a little bit older, and we just wanted to make sure that we had these stories for our future generations to also enjoy.
And of course I accept. That sounds exciting as hell. I love filming, and this will give me a chance to really practice my skills and learn some new things. The only problem is I don't know how to shoot a cinematic interview, but that is where our story begins. The story of how I created a beautiful film to preserve and share my grandparents' memories forever. And like with all good stories, we have to start at the beginning. Chapter 1. Research can be fun. Okay, I just got off the phone with my mom and we have a game plan. I need to figure out what I want this interview to look like, and I also need to figure out what kind of equipment I need. Like I said, I know nothing about this topic, but I know where I can go to learn some new things. It's a little place that I think you all are familiar with. So you probably thought I was gonna say Google, but the real answer is YouTube. YouTube has everything you need to know. I was able to find this really great video. Now it's by Parker Walbeck, a really awesome photographer, and he films really cool videos and gives really great tips. One major thing I learned from this entire video is that there are 3 components to every great interview. You usually have multiple lights lighting the front and back. You want to pay attention to the cameras and their angles, and then you also have audio. If you can get all those things set up and position everything correctly, you're gonna have a great video. Okay, we know what we need. Now it's time for my favorite part, shopping. So here's a list of everything I ended up getting. Now you'll notice that the price of these items comes out to be really high, but I did purchase from Amazon and they have a very wonderful return policy on these items. Alright, so it's been about a week since I placed the order and all the packages finally came in. So in total, it was about 7 boxes. Everything was able to fit in there. And you might be wondering, Adam, why didn't you open it on camera for everyone to see? Good question. The answer is I have no self-control. I wanted to open everything right away, and so you all will get to see everything in the next part of this video. Chapter 2. Lights, camera, audio, action. Just got home. I am getting ready to film my first practice interview with my parents, and I brought all my equipment with me. All of this over here. I've kind of come up with some questions that I plan on asking them, but we'll see how it goes. Wish me luck. Okay, so I think we have everything set up. Let me kind of walk you through all the equipment that I have with me. First, we have our slider here. This guy I can set to move at a certain speed as well as over a certain distance. So from like here to there. I also have my second angle right here. This is going to be a more close-up shot of my parents who are going to be sitting right there. Then we move over to the boom here. Now the boom is sitting on one of these like shock holders. It has little rubber bands in here so that it doesn't move from any vibrations. So this is my shotgun mic sitting on our little C stand right here. This thing is super heavy. Now if we look over here, we have our nice soft light, which is gonna be going directly onto my parents. And then we also have this light right over here that is gonna be illuminating their back, which is gonna give it a little bit more of a cinematic feel. We're gonna also have a secondary source, which is coming from the lav mics right here, which will get set up on my parents. And then everything is gonna be recorded into this recorder here. And then last but not least, this thing is super cool. It's called a color checker passport. There is software that you can download that will get the colors to look more natural to what they look like in real life, and it will just require a whole lot less color grading and color editing in the after process. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this camera in place. I will see you guys once my parents get here and we start recording.
My name is Darren Trujillo. I have 3 beautiful children, 1 wonderful wife.
My name is Darlene Trujillo. I'm very thankful for Darren. He's just been the best dad ever.
I mean, some of my favorite moments with mom is
Marriage is one of the most...
if you find somebody you love, fight for it. And one of the biggest things you need to do is love you.
I love you too.
So that was my first attempt at filmmaking, and honestly, I'm pretty happy with how it came out. Now there was a lot of great lessons that I learned from that first shoot, and I took that with me and applied it to the interview with my grandparents. I'm gonna start setting up. My grandparents are getting ready for the interview. All the equipment is here, we brought it all with us, and we're ready to get started. Let's go.
And that's where I met Grandpa Corny in the bakery. But that was a lot of fun.
And my dad really loved him. Dad treated him like he was a son.
Yes, I finished the interview. I had taken a quick look at the footage. It was looking so good. I just had one last piece to get finished. Chapter 3, Editing and Lessons Learned. Editing is one of the coolest yet worst parts about filmmaking. Let me explain. Now, because I was using multiple camera angles and multiple audio sources, I needed a software that could sync everything together. And for me, the best option was to use Premiere Pro. Now, this program has a pretty steep learning curve, but again, don't let that scare you off. There's so many videos on YouTube where you can learn everything you need to know. And so once you figure out how to actually use the editing software, you have to put all of your footage on there and start sifting through it. To me, this can kind of be the tedious part, but editing is also really cool because it allows you to put your own style and make it your own. You're able to add beautiful music to it, and you can highlight the stories that are really important. And even better for me, gives me a lot of really good practice for my YouTube videos that I'm putting right here.
I am 76. I've had an enchanted life. And then, as good fortune would have it, I met your dad. And I've been married to him for 61 years.
Okay, here we go. I am 85. Grandpa Corny invited me over for supper. And that's where I met your mom. She was back there in the kitchen doing puelas, and every once in a while I'd see her looking over there. And I see this little girl over there in the pots and pans. That was your mom.
I didn't want to go out of the kitchen because I thought, man, this good-looking young man.
Woo.
And I thought, if I get my grubby hands on him, and I did. He's been my grubby man for a long time.
Now, there was a lot I gained being able to film my grandparents like this. I learned to bring a few extra batteries with me and maybe some extra extension cords. I learned the beauty of silence and being okay with not having anything more to say. But most of all, I learned to appreciate what I have right now. My grandparents are so full of life, and just sitting back and listening to their stories was something I'll never forget. I didn't need really expensive gear or to frame the shot perfectly. Really, none of that even mattered. The stories were the star of the show, and just being able to listen to them and appreciate them was what really mattered. I can't wait to show my parents and to show my siblings and my family and to maybe even one day show my own kids. I want them to see how incredible my grandparents are. And I'm so glad I was able to learn these stories from them because they are what matter most.
They're going to say, look at those two old buzzards over there.
Thank you so much for sticking it out to the end of this video. This is really the first installment of my series where I go out searching for my spark. I think after all of this was said and done, I really learned a lot about what I enjoy and what I don't. Filmmaking is something I really like, and I plan to do a lot of it. If you want to keep up with all the videos I'll be creating, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. Thanks, and I'll see you all in the next video.